Time to begin our council meeting, and I would, as we always do, I would welcome you, and I would ask that we all stand for the invocation and the pledge, and I will ask Mr. Morrison if he will lead us in a prayer, and then I'll ask Mr. Bill Bilbrey if he'll lead us in the pledge.
If you would bow your heads. Dear Heavenly Father, we come to you with bowed heads and thankful hearts once again, Lord. Thank you for another beautiful day. We thank you for this cool weather and relief and the rain that you've given us to replenish the earth, Lord. We pray your blessings upon this council as they make decisions to move the city forward, Lord, that it would be for the benefit of all citizens. We pray for those, Lord, that are less fortunate, those that are touched by death and sickness, Lord. You'd reach down and comfort them and lift them up in their time of need, Lord. Most of all, we pray for those that are lost, that they would find you in eternal salvation, for it's everlasting too late. It's in your name we ask these many things. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Ms. Flatt, would you call the roll?
Honorable Mayor Fowler.
Here.
Honorable Vice Mayor Norris.
Present.
Honorable Councilman Bilbrey.
Present.
Honorable Councilwoman Hawkins.
Present.
Honorable Councilman Hill.
Present.
We're all present and accounted for. So let's now consider our agenda and the minutes. Under number 1, I would ask your consideration for approval of the agenda as presented.
We need to amend it to add a change order reducing the cost of the Main Street paving project.
As long as we're going down.
$72,000.
We're proud of that. Thank you much. Okay. Now do we consider a motion? I would happily. Come on.
I'll make a motion.
All right. And is there a second?
Second.
All right. Ms. Flatt, if you'll call the roll.
Mayor Fowler.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Norris.
Yes.
Honorable Bilbrey.
Yes.
Honorable Hawkins.
Yes.
Honorable Hill.
Yes.
Thank you. And now let's consider the approval of the minutes of the council meetings that were held on May 14th. And I guess the next one is also May 30th. I think we can take one motion to consider both of the minutes on those. We have had those previously presented to us, and hope you all have had a chance to look at them, and if there's anything that needs to be changed or deleted, added, changed, speak now.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Okay, that's a motion to approve the minutes of the May 14th meeting as well as the May 30th meeting, right? Okay. All right, Ms. Flatt.
Mayor Fowler.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Norris.
Yes.
Honorable Bilbrey.
Yes.
Honorable Hawkins.
Yes.
Honorable Hill.
Yes.
I don't think that we have any old business, but we do have some new business. Under number 4, we are to consider approval to suspend the reading of all of these ordinances, because we're going to get into those in depth here in a few minutes. So that's ordinance 634-19, 635-19, 636-19, 637-19, 638-19, 639-19, and 640-19.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, Ms. Norris.
I'll second.
Thank you, sir. All right, Ms. Flatt.
Mayor Fowler.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Norris.
Yes.
Honorable Bilbrey.
Yes.
Honorable Hawkins.
Yes.
Honorable Hill.
Yes.
Now, the first ordinance that we would be considering is number 634-19. That is the adopting the annual budget and the tax rate for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2019 and ending June 30th, 2020. We discussed it at length at both of those meetings prior to this one, and I think tonight it is, we've already passed it once, but tonight it's open for public comment. We have to open a portion of the meeting for public comment. And after that, we will consider approval of the final reading of 634-19. So that is concerning our budget. And if anyone has a question, a comment, anything they'd like to say during this public part of the meeting. Yes, ma'am.
I just think the increase is a little bit high at 10%. I was a state employee and we were lucky to get 1.5, 2%, no, 3% was really big. So I just think it's a little bit extravagant. I think everybody deserves a raise, but I think 10% is a little bit extravagant.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. I agreed with you, but that's just me. Ms. Graves, you want to say something?
I'm just sitting here thinking how wonderful it is that we have enough money in the budget to put our people where they need to be salary-wise and keep them. That is my opinion.
Okay, thank you. I could see you wanted to say something, but you just wouldn't.
Right out there.
All right, good. I think Mr. Graves expressed that the last time. I think he expressed the same opinion, so.
Well, they're not paid enough as it is, and that is to help get them where they need to be or on the way to where they need to be.
Well, I don't know what you're comparing it to, but in any event, thank you for pointing that out to us. You know, we're a community of about 3,500, not 16,000, but thank you. Yes, ma'am, Miss Bilbrey.
I'm not sure who this lady is, but I'm going to say contrary to her statement, I was a state employee and there was a salary comparison done and I got a huge raise and it was a lot more than 10%. And so I think at times those things do happen and they're done for reasons. And the reasons usually are is because what the pay was not what it should be. And so it's not that it's gonna happen every year, but it has been decided to be done this year, and I think it's a good thing, just like Mr. Grace.
As far as I know, I've only been here less than a year. There was no salary study done. There was no comparison done. That was an amount, I assume, pulled out of the air by Mr. Bilbrey. He was the one, he told us the last time, he was the one that suggested the 10%, right?
That's correct.
He did
Okay.
suggest that, but it wasn't pulled out of the air. I believe he got that from,
MTAS.
that's right.
Mhm.
So it wasn't anything pulled out of the air.
Oh, did you get that before you made the suggestion? I wasn't aware.
Oh, yes, I
You
got
got
that
it
about
before?
6 months ago.
Okay. Well, the ones that Luke and I looked at were
No,
less.
I
I mean,
requested it about 6 months ago.
what kind of information did you give them, if you don't mind me asking?
It's real similar to pay salaries for different cities and
Gotcha.
stuff.
Okay. And did they compare the right, did they
They were
base
cl-
theirs
they-
on
they
the,
were
on the
close.
upper?
They were close.
That's what I thought. Okay, so that means no. All right. Are there any other comments? Anybody? All right, we're going to close this part of the public hearing, and we'll move on to approval of the budget, and the tax rate, if you want to know what that is or what we were voting on it to be. I thought I highlighted it. 4.44 cents.
0.4407 per 100.
Here it is. So you all, if this budget passes, because it's all part of one section or one ordinance, there is going to be a tax improvement for all the citizens of Allgood. Taxes are going to go down. So we're proud of that and glad that we are in such a financial shape that we can do that. Does anybody have a comment or a question or anything about this budget that we haven't discussed to death? Okay. All right. Do I hear a motion to approve ordinance 63419?
I'll
And-
make a motion.
Okay.
Second.
All right. Ms. Blatt, we're ready.
Mayor Fowler,
No, and let me say why. I am always, when we can afford it, for a raise for our employees, and especially those who have merited it. But you need to also look at, and why I voted no, I'm only voting, I wish I could pick out the parts that I don't like, but it comes as a whole. So I am glad that we can do the 5%. I'm tickled that we're in such a shape to do that. I also think that tax decrease on our citizens, that's a great thing that we want to be able to bring you, as well as the improvements that are budgeted in here in this document. I do not believe, and I have nothing against the administrative staff. However, I do not think, as I stated in the last meeting and the one before that a 10% increase is, and I don't want to say merited, but I just don't think that that is the appropriate thing for us to be doing at this time. I would have been happy to discuss another %, but not 10. And what everybody needs to understand is that the administrative staff that are listed here, they are exempt from overtime. That's part of their job duties, and it says so right in the budget. If you look at your pages that are attached, if they work 40 hours, if they work 80 hours, they signed on to do a job for a price. And I just don't think you have to reward somebody's 10% for doing their job. Now, that's my vote. I've said no, and we'll go on to Ms. Norris.
Vice Mayor Norris,
Yes.
Honorable Bilbrey,
Yes.
Honorable Hawkins,
I don't know how I'm gonna do this, but I'm gonna have to abstain to the raise, but I vote yes for the rest of the budget.
I don't think you can take it in parts,
I
can you,
don't
Danny?
think you can, Ms. Hawkins. I think
It's all or nothing. Yea or nay or abstain.
it would be an indirect conflict, and so you can announce your conflict and vote, and I think that would be okay if you wanted to vote for it. Or against it. I think you can vote either way you wanna go.
I'm just gonna abstain.
Okay.
Honorable Hill,
Yes.
All right. That is 3 yeses, which it would be a majority, and so this will be our budget and our tax rate beginning July 1st, 2019 through June 30th of 2020. Okay. Number 6 will also be for ordinance 635-19. It's also to consider approval of second and final reading of 635-19 to amend the Allgood zoning code pertaining to PRDs or planned residential developments. I'll ask Mr. Morrison if he wants to go ahead and address what we have in mind regarding a planned residential development, and maybe explain a little bit about what that is if we have some that don't know.
This is second reading of planned residential district. These were originally conditional uses. The Planning Commission voted on April 22nd to pull those out of conditional uses out of the zones and make a planned residential district its own zone. So there are no current planned residential districts that are zoned that way right now. They are already existing in a couple of other zones that were voted on previously. This did pass first reading May 14th. A planned residential development is an apartment or a townhouse complex, condominium, or other special housing development where 2 or more housing units are grouped together in 2 or more buildings, are either sold or rented, with or without accessory structures, providing recreational, cultural, or other activities for residents therein. Planned residential development can also include single-family site-built homes designed as zero lot line or patio home concept, condominium style. PRDs are intended to encourage flexibility and innovation in land use and residential developments. Through careful planning, such districts will provide for the best use of the site, consistent with the goals of protecting and embracing the natural environment. At the same time, it is intended that the projects within PRD provide a compatible blending with surrounding development, minimizing such negative impacts as land use conflicts, traffic congestion, and excessive demands on existing or proposed public facilities. So this is just outlining the guidelines for this new zone that will be considered planned residential districts. One of the caveats for this PRD zone is the lot size minimum is no less than 3 acres.
All right, I'll open the floor now for any public comment that you would like to make or questions concerning this ordinance 63519 regarding planned residential developments. No comments. We'll close that portion of the meeting and we will entertain a motion on final reading to approve or not ordinance 63519.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
All right, Ms. Flatt?
Mayor Fowler,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Norris,
Yes.
Honorable Bilbrey,
Yes.
Honorable Hawkins,
Yes.
Honorable Hill.
Yes.
Okay. Now, that passes. Number 7. This is regarding ordinance 636-19, an ordinance that will amend, if it passes, the all good zoning regulations pertaining to lot sizes in the R1 district. And the lot sizes we're talking about, if I can find the number, if I can read it. Do you know off the top of your head, Keith?
This is going to move an R1 lot size for a single residential family lot from 12,000 to 15,000 square feet, providing a little more green space around the homes in the R1 zone.
Went through planning, correct?
It did. Also on April 22nd, passed first reading May 14th.
Okay.
It'll be right here, pass first reading. It'll be up here. Yeah, that's us.
This first?
Mhm.
Because I thought you said it passed.
It did. It passed reading May 14th. It's just not handwritten on that copy.
Okay. Yeah, it's not on any of mine, but anyway. Okay. Does anybody, or this is open for public comment now regarding 636-19, recommended by the Planning Commission, amending our zoning regulations pertaining to lot sizes in the R1 district. And I think Mr. Morrison explained that that was just a difference of lot sizes. Is there anybody that would like to address this particular ordinance? Okay, not hearing any, we'll close that portion of the public hearing. And now, I guess it moves to the council for any motion they would like to make.
I make a motion.
Okay, I think that was Ms. Hawkins, right?
Yeah.
To approve it, correct? You make a motion to approve it? Okay. Does anybody have a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion by the council? All right. Ms. Flack?
Mayor Fowler,
Yes?
Vice Mayor Norris,
Yes.
Honorable Bilbrey,
Yes.
Honorable Hawkins,
Yes.
Honorable Hill.
Yes.
All right. Motion passes, or that's the second and final, so that will take effect. All right. The next ordinance we're looking at is ordinance number 637-19. That's also to amend the All Good zoning code pertaining to uses in the R2 district. I believe that is regarding duplexes, moving them and well, that's probably going to move them, I think, isn't it, from the R2, that stays as, does away with the duplexes, correct?
That's correct.
Is there anyone that would like to ask any questions or have a comment about this ordinance? This is the time to do it. Okay. Close the public hearing section, and now we can consider voting.
I'll make a motion.
To go ahead and approve it?
Yes.
Okay. Second?
I'll second.
Okay. Call for the vote. Ms. Platt?
Mayor Fowler,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Norris.
Yes.
Honorable Bilberry.
Yes.
Honorable Hawkins.
Yes.
Honorable Hill.
Yes.
Okay. That will take effect then. Number 9, regarding ordinance 63819, we're considering approving that ordinance to amend the Allgood zoning code pertaining to uses in the RD district. I have to open the floor now because it's passed once before, so I open the floor for public comment. If anyone would like to ask questions or to address this issue or this ordinance, this is also your time to speak. Yes, I'll ask Mr. Morrison to do it. He can probably do it quicker than I can, but yes, we will explain it.
What's happening with the RD district is we're including specific language to include townhomes and condominiums. It is leaving the single-family lot size for a single-family structure at 6,000 square feet. A two-family structure duplex is allowed on 18,000 square feet in the RD district with a maximum of 2 per lot. That means no more than 2 buildings or 4 structures on 36,000 square feet. So if it's bigger than 36,000 square feet, it is still limited to 2 buildings and 4 units. And so this is just specifying what those uses are. There currently aren't any RD districts in the city that aren't already used or have development on them. So this would require a rezoning to go to an RD district and allow duplexes or allow a single family structure on a 6,000 square foot lot.
Did that address your interest? Okay. Does anyone else have a question or a comment?
And this too went through planning, any who went through, no concerns?
Did go through planning with positive recommendation April 22nd, passed first reading of council May 14th.
Thank you.
Okay. I think I said we'll close that portion of the public hearing. If not, I will go ahead, or I'll close it, and then I'll entertain motions either way to approve second reading or whatever the council desires.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Was that you, Carolyn, or was that Ms. Hawkins? Was that you that seconded? Oh, it's, okay. All right, Ms. Platt, we're ready.
Mayor Fowler,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Norris,
Yes.
Honorable Bilberry.
Yes.
Honorable Hawkins.
Yes.
Honorable Hill.
Yes.
All right. We will move on then to item number 10. This is considering ordinance 639-19. Consider approval of second and final reading of 639-19, which sets new water and sewer rates. I think as we've discussed before, you understand that Cookeville, which we buy our water from them, they have raised their rates. So in turn, we cannot operate the water portion of the city at a disadvantage, or we can't show a loss, a deficit in that category. So I'll now open the public comment portion of regarding this ordinance to the public, and if you have any questions, comments, this is your time. All right. I hope everyone understands that this is not something that we just wanted to do. We have to do it. So because we're not allowed to operate as a deficit. So we will close the public comment section, and it'll now go to the council for a vote. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
All right, is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, Miss Ann?
Mayor Fowler,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Norris,
Yes.
Honorable Bilbrey,
Yes.
Honorable Hawkins,
Yes.
Honorable Hill.
Yes.
Okay. 639-19 is now approved on second reading. Number 11, ordinance number 640-19. That is to consider on final reading ordinance 640-19 to amend the Algood zoning code by providing provisions for short-term rental properties, STRPs for short. I'm sure most of you are aware that, there are some short-term rentals, people that own homes and they rent them out daily or weekly. Prior to this, I don't think our code had addressed short-term rental properties. And so now, by ordinance number 640-19, we are permitting, this is a permitting process for anybody who wants to have short-term rental property. They have to meet all of our requirements, our permitting processes. If you have to pay a deposit, those kinds of things are all covered under this particular ordinance. It has been sent through to us based on the recommendation of the Planning Commission, and I think that we have already passed it once. And so now, before a second reading, when it would become actually an ordinance that would go into our code book, we now need to have a public hearing on that portion, the one regarding short-term rentals. So we'll open the public portion, and if you have any comments or questions, please feel free. Yes, sir?
Ma'am, have you considered anyone that's already had a short-term rental, that this process was not set before? Are you going to be grandfathering any of those properties that are not in consideration of what you've now approved?
Okay. Well, it takes a second reading, but we've approved it once. I guess I'm just going to refer to our attorney, Mr. Rader, and he can answer that.
Mayor and Council, the state law does provide a provision to grandfather someone in, but there are specific requirements under the state law that a person must meet to be grandfathered in, including the requirement that they have paid sales tax for 6 of the 12 months preceding this adoption. And so should you choose to adopt it, someone would be grandfathered in if they have had a short-term rental and held it out for a short-term rental, and they have paid the required sales tax for 6 of 12 months and can demonstrate that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Did you?
What if you have not had a short-term rental longer than 6 months?
Then you would not be grandfathered in under the state statute that was passed addressing this.
Does that sufficiently answer your question? You may not like it, but that's the answer. Okay? I mean, if you have any more questions, feel free. This is public comment.
Yes, I understand.
Okay.
My understanding is that Cookville, this is where you're taking this from, did not do that. They grandfathered anyone in that was previous to their decision. So if you're taking this from Cookville's plan, that's what they did.
Okay.
Just letting you know, if you're going through the state, that's fine, but Cookville did not do the same.
Well,
I represent the city of Cookville, Mayor, and I think the gentleman may be incorrect about that. I think Cookville does have the same requirement.
okay. Thank you. Are there any other questions?
But if we grandfather somebody, they're still not grandfathered from the process, right? They still have to.
They have to go through the process.
I mean, one of the big pieces of this is, to make sure that we're doing the life safety checks so that we're, that the properties are being rented that are safe and habitable. I mean, we're not foregoing that if we entertain some sort of grandfathering, right? Is that correct?
That's correct, isn't it?
We still want that.
If you follow the state's grandfather statute, then someone would be able to continue to operate their short-term rental without a permit, and you would not be conducting any of the inspections or the process that you're adopting for a permit here. So, you wouldn't be doing.
So
those checks.
they would be grandfathered from even having to pay sales tax?
No, they have to.
They still would have to pay sales tax?
Right,
Okay.
that's the state requirement, but your requirements, what you're doing, the life safety checks, the inspections,
Sure.
the ensuring that things are the correct
Permitting.
size and safe, they would be exempt from those requirements because they'd be grandfathered in.
I guess my question to you is,
I'm sorry.
is there a reason, when I brought this up, that they weren't even aware that you had short-term rentals in Allgood? My question to you is, do you understand the impact if you stop short-term rentals in Allgood? Because people that come here are spending money in your town. They are offering things to buy from small stores, restaurants, coming here to travel, they're spending gas money, stuff like that. If you do this, you're taking that away from your community. You do understand that, right?
Yes, sir. We discussed it at length. The council has. We've had a work session yesterday, which is always public, and I think that we understand what we're doing. But thank you for that concern.
And this went through planning, was posted and went through the planning process?
Yes, on April the 22nd, the Planning Commission voted to recommend it to us.
Thank you.
Anything else? All right, looks like that it appeared in the paper that this was scheduled to be heard on their recommendation, was on April the 22nd. We had the first reading on May the 14th, and we advertised for public hearing for today for second reading. So specifically regulate short-term rentals, Airbnb, and VRBOs. So that was what was run in the paper. So I'm hoping that everyone had a chance to review it. All right, I'll close this portion of the public hearing, and we will resolve ordinance number 640-19 regarding short-term rentals. I'll now consider motion or second regarding 640-19, which we have already voted one time to approve. The Planning Commission has approved it and recommended it to us, and we are now concerning the second and final reading. I'll make a motion that we accept it.
A second.
Ms. Blatt?
Mayor Fowler,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Norris,
Yes.
Honorable Bilbrey,
Yes.
Honorable Hawkins,
Yes.
Honorable Hill.
Yes.
All right. Item number 12 on our agenda is to consider approval of a contract with the Upper Cumberland Development District for planning services beginning July 1st, 2019. I think we discussed this yesterday at the work session. Does anybody on the council have a question, comment?
If we do this, how long are we signing on for? Is it a year?
A year. We can get out, can't we, at 6 months?
It's a quarterly payment, so you could get out at the end of the quarter if you're not happy. With the county, it's a 6-month contract. Currently, the county for a 6-month contract is $10,561.44. This annual contract is $10,000.
So 50% savings?
Yes.
Watch out, I'm doing math.
Yeah. I'll pass you my calculator. Yeah, kidneys, man. All right. Anybody that wants to can consider approval for this or not.
Yeah, they got. If you decide you want to wait, the next opportunity to change this would probably be January the 1st to give the county 6 months. So if you don't renew it now, we would delay and wait till January 1st to reconsider.
I'll make a motion
Oh, I'm so
Go
sorry.
ahead, go ahead.
Is there, I mean, is there something pressing that necessitates this?
July
Just
1st.
Just July 1st, because that's a current one that's.
Right.
Just what,
It's just the renewal dates. If you want to wait beyond July 1st, the next renewal date would be January 1st to reconsider.
Okay, thank you. Sorry.
I make a motion, we do this.
Okay. Motion's been made by Councilwoman Norris. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, we're ready, Ms. Black.
Mayor Fowler,
Yes?
Vice Mayor Norris,
Yes.
Honorable Bilbrey,
Yes.
Honorable Hawkins.
Yes.
Honorable Hill.
Yes.
Okay. Now, number 13 is to consider approval to declare the 2003 Chevrolet Trailblazer as surplus. And again, as we all heard yesterday, the condition of the Trailblazer is not what we would want it to be. So, if you need more information, I'm sure Mr. Morrison can tell you more if you didn't get your answers from yesterday.
I'll make a motion, we surplus it.
Second.
Ms. Black?
Mayor Fowler,
Yes?
Vice Mayor Norris.
Yes.
Honorable Bilbrey,
Yes.
Honorable Hawkins.
Yes.
Honorable Hill.
Yes.
All right, that would pass. Now is the portion of Mr. Morrison's part, our city administrator's report.
New fire hall has been completed. The paving was done a couple weeks ago. We are in the process of trying to schedule an open house for the third Monday in July and working out the details of that. We'll announce it as we get closer. Also, the 4th of July celebration is scheduled for June 29th from 5 to 9 o'clock. That is a free event for the public with fireworks at 9 o'clock, depending on the fire chief turning off the lights. So as soon as the lights go out, the fireworks start. The Main Street paving project was completed. The loops at the new light are installed. We do have a new controller to go in the light, as well as the intent to connect it through fiber to Cookville to monitor the activity between the lights. So we're still working on that connection. But we continue to work on the sidewalks and looking forward to July 1st, a new budget year, and continue to progress on the things we've been working on. Farmers Market, we do have a call in to Upper Cumberland Electric. We're going to dig the line for the underground electric between the two poles. They want to schedule that on a day that they can be here, install it while we're digging it out, and as soon as they're done installing it, cover the line back up and be ready to pour the footer. So we're working out the details of that date as well. Signature Healthcare has graciously partnered with us to do a community garden and supply materials and water to have a watering system that will allow a small space for community folks to go over and plant in that garden and maintain a small garden area that they can use if they'd like to do that. So we're in the final stages of that, and I'll let you know when that's ready to go full speed. Department heads, did you have anything? Thank you.
All right. Now, if you haven't already expressed an opinion or have a question, we always have this portion of the meeting that if you would like to address us or if you have some sort of concern, we'll be happy to do that now. Mr. Maynard. Mr. Maynard.
The ordinance you passed tonight, the zoning, when will they take effect?
Is it 10 days?
14 days.
14 calendar days?
Yes.
When will it be available for download off the webpage?
Before the end of the week.
Before the end of the week. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? We thank you for being in attendance, and we're always glad to entertain you and hopefully get some of your questions answered. If that's all, next meeting is July the 9th, and I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a
So
motion.
moved. Great. They're equal today. All right. All right. Any opposed? All right. Good.